Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at another new card. Yeah, the first two we looked at today were leaked on the website overnight. The YouTube channel has just shown us a lovely card called U-Turn Board. So I thought, right, we should probably have a look at that as well. You know the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Any new card that comes out, we're covering on this channel. So if you're not subscribed, might I suggest you get yourself subscribed. Now, we do have a translation, obviously. And our translation is from the lovely David Hochmann over at RappelmannTCG, obviously. So what does it actually do? Well, it's a tool, and it reads, a Pokemon this card is attached to has one less retreat cost. If this card would get discarded from the field, put it back into your hand. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. Now look, there are plenty of other things we can use for retreating. We'll get into all this in a moment. But the fact that it goes into your hand when discarded from the field, that is absolutely huge. Before we get rolling here, just a quick ruling query. I did have a chat with David about this card, as I usually do for new cards. He's a lovely chap. And I did double check with him. This does not work if it is discarded from your hand. So we had a look just earlier on today at Jesse and James, the new supporter card that made each player discard 2 cards from their hand. If you discarded a U-turn board from your hand, it would not come back. This only comes back when discarded from the field. It does not come back when discarded from your hand. That is a rather big difference, ladies and gentlemen, because otherwise you could use this to make sure Jesse and James only discarded 1 card from your hand. Of course, by the same token, let's say you're using something like a Rangaroo, which lets you draw until you got 3 cards in hand. Maybe it would be good to discard it from your hand and not have it back, so you could draw 1 extra card with a Rangaroo. If it is discarded from your hand in any way, whether it's Jesse and James, whether it's Honchkrow GX, the GX attack of which lets you look at your opponent's hand and discard 2 cards, it doesn't come back, ladies and gentlemen. The way it's written is rather clear. You don't get it back. Cool. So let's go to the effect of this then. It reduces your retreat cost by 1. And clearly here, the biggest card with which we need to compare this is a skateboard. At the moment, we have a skateboard which reduces your retreat cost by 1. But it also lets you retreat while you are either asleep or paralyzed, which is not the case with U-turn board here. Although I do like that they're rolling with the board motifs here. Now, if all you want to do is retreat your active Pokemon, there's not really any competition here. If you're focused on retreating, and retreating is what you're interested in, U-turn board is better. Because you're going to keep having it. You're going to lose it, you're going to get it back. You're going to lose it, you're going to get it back. And I know it could potentially clog up your hand for something like a Rangaroo, but do remember, you can just attach it to one of your Pokemon, so I really wouldn't worry about it. This is good. It's great. But the thing is, with a skateboard, it's not just about retreating, it's also about getting out of special conditions, and this is the part of the video where we need to start talking about Jirachi. You see, ladies and gentlemen, Jirachi from Team Up has the Redonk ability whereby you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, you find a trainer card, you put it into your hand, and then you are left asleep. And you don't want to attack with Jirachi because it's garbage. It's used with stuff like Zapdos that does 80 damage for a single energy just so long as it became active this turn. U-turn board is not good with Jirachi. Jirachi puts itself to sleep when it uses the ability. There is no sleep flip before you attack. If you're relying on Jirachi, there's no ifs, buts, or maybes. You're not using this. You're playing a skateboard. Similarly, if you're playing against any deck or you're playing in a meta where you're worried about playing against a deck that relies on sleep or paralysis, the fact that you get it back when it's discarded does not make up for the fact that you cannot use this to get away from sleep and paralysis. But if all you want to do is retreat, this is a better option. Because we're all worried about stuff like Field Blower. Or we're worried about stuff like, well, in Expanded, maybe Xerosic. And the good news is, if they discard it, it goes back to your hand, you've got it back next turn, job's a good 'un. The thing is, your opponent could still use Faber. Now, if I'm honest with you, Faber's not seeing a huge amount of play at the moment. It's not something about which you should be that concerned, but it is still out there. And Faber removes a tool, but it doesn't put it in the discard pile, it puts it into the lost zone. And the wording we've got from David is, if it would get discarded from the field, put it back into your hand. Now, the wording here is going to be extremely important when it comes to the interaction between this and Faber. If it says discarded, then it would not work, because Faber doesn't discard, it puts it into the lost zone. If the wording is removed from the field, then we need to have a ruling as to, alright, well, when it's removed, is it removed and put straight into the lost zone by Faber, or is it removed but put back into your hand before it can hit the lost zone? With Pokemon, these rulings tend to come down with, this wouldn't help, it would go into the lost zone with Faber. It's another one of those things, we probably will need an official ruling at some point, but I feel quite confident that Faber would be able to lost zone it. So that is something your opponent could do if they were that worried. But there is actually another redonk thing you've got here. And it is in the expanded format with Garbodor. I adore this with Garbodor. Now, to be fair, when you go into the expanded format, you've got Floatstone. And in terms of retreating, Floatstone is just irrevocably better than this. Floatstone puts your retreat cost to 0. This puts your retreat cost down by 1. And it's not like with a skateboard where we could go, well, this one's better. No. This is just better. It lowers your retreat cost by either the same amount or more. It's a better card. And Garbodor does have a retreat cost of 3. Incidentally, yes, I know there are 2 different Garbodor which are both legal and expanded right now. They both have a retreat cost of 3. They're very similar cards. Seriously, same typing, same HP, same retreat cost, same weakness. It doesn't, same ability, obviously. It doesn't really matter which one you use. But either Garbodor will block abilities while there is a tool attached. So you need to have a tool attached. And the great thing here is that you can make sure there's a tool attached. Now, you put a U-turn board on Garbodor, your opponent gets rid of it with, say, a Field Blower. Even though you do have Startling Megaphone and Expanded, which will get rid of all of your opponent's tools, we still tend to see Field Blower being the more played card, because it can get rid of stadiums and it can get rid of your own tools, letting you swap them out. So we still generally see Field Blower. So your opponent tries to get rid of it with a Field Blower, and it will work, goes to your hand, which means your opponent will have the remainder of that turn having access to their abilities. But usually when Garbodor loses its tool, the next turn as the Garbodor player is a mad scramble for, oh my goodness, can I get a tool, can I get a tool, can I get a tool, can I get a tool? This takes all of that away, and it guarantees that yes, in fact, you can get a tool. Is this an amazing card? No, it's really not in terms of its base effect. It is a worse version of a skateboard. It is a worse version of Floatstone. It is frankly not great. It's better than nothing, but we don't have nothing right now. We have a skateboard. And a skateboard came out in Ultra Prism, which I feel quite strongly will survive the next rotation, so I don't think it's a huge issue. Having said that, it's not just for reducing your retreat cost. It is for doing it time and time and time and time again. And actually, if your opponent is going to keep getting rid of your escape board, sooner or later you're going to run out. If they keep getting rid of your U-turn board, sooner or later you're not going to run out ever. Now, to be fair, they could get rid of it and play a Marshadow, or something along those lines that makes you shuffle your hand back into your deck. And yeah, if they do, you won't have it guaranteed next turn. But there's still a decent chance you'll be able to find it. And then, even if you don't, it's still in your deck. So the fact of the matter is, it's not going to put you back that much. And that's my point here. You just keep having access to it. This is a really good card because it bounces back to your hand. The effect is fine. But honestly, if you're playing something like Jirachi, it's pointless. But if you're playing anything else and want to reduce a retreat cost, this is better. And if you're playing something like Garboda that needs a tool attached, this is better. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this is good. This is really, really good. I'm going to be giving it 4 Wassies. I think there are going to be some very creative uses for this, and I'm a little bit excited. But I would like to know what you think. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. But please do remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.